All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Dish Sheeper Farmer Cigar Garage Talks. We're in the garage today, mostly because it's quite windy out, and I didn't want to deal with all the wind artifact sounds. We're threatening rain, of rain here possibly in a little bit. We might be having little storms action. Nothing too horrible though. So I decided to be a little lazy and just stay in the garage. I mean, like I said, I have a permanent setup here with this studio, where the other ones I have to lug tripods and lighters and tables and chairs to the other different spots. But we're in the garage. I just, again, didn't want to deal with the wind. So what are we smoking? What are we drinking? So the cigar tonight, the let's say this right, Kintsugi. It's from Alex Bradley. If you don't know, it is the art form of taking something, breaking it, and then you use gold to mend the break. It makes the vessel more beautiful. It has a story, and it's supposed to be stronger. Pretty cool little art form if you look it up. There's a lot of information online. You see some videos. You can also buy some of the afterwear products. So. Good cigar. I've had it before on the channel. For the drink tonight, we have ourselves a Napoleon. Yeah, okay, let's start that one over. Napoleon Milk Stout, brewed here in Michigan from the Saugatuck Brewing Company. So let's give this a try. I'm excited to try this one. It sounded tasty. I do like me some Napoleon ice cream. Oh, it does have a really creamy smell. Interesting. So my guess is it's going to have chocolate, vanilla, strawberry with cream, maybe? I don't know. Let's find out. Good head on that. Well, I mean, it tastes really good, but it does not taste like it smells. So it's good beer though, good creamy. That is a good milk stout. I do not mind that one at all. Not really sure. Maybe if I let it breathe a little bit, we'll get some of the chocolate, cherry, and vanilla going. So anyway, for tonight, I wanted to talk about self-sufficiency. So first off, I think I mentioned before, I've been trying to grow tobacco the last 3 years with a mixture of successes. First year I didn't get any seeds to sprout. The second year I only got one. And then I tried to harvest the leaves. They molded almost immediately. So this year I actually tripled how many seeds I started. And they almost all took. I actually ended up having to throw out a bunch of them. So I ended up with like 30 some odd successful ones that made it into the garden. A few died off as they normally do throughout the year. I mean, you never can usually keep 100% of what you plant. But now I have the trouble of figuring out, well, when do I harvest the leaves? How do I dry them? How do I cure them? And it's a lot of it's been a very interesting process, right? Very interesting process to learn about this. I'm starting to learn that there is no right answer. Some people will say you wait until they turn yellow. Some will say you can field dry them. Others will tell you to pick them when they're green. There's smoking, curing them. There's just all sorts of different processes and different beliefs. So I'm having fun with it. If you haven't seen, and when people ask me, well, why? You're trying to save money on cigars? No, not really. Yeah, I'm going to try rolling my own cigar. It'll probably fail epically. Because again, it's one of those things where I'm not good at it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm guessing. This is all guesswork. I can watch some YouTube videos, read some books. I have talked to a couple of tobacconists who've given me kind of pointers on how to roll my own cigars. But chances are this is all going to fail, right? This is not going to go as well as planned. The cigar itself will probably taste nasty, I'm guessing. But I do this stuff because I love to be self-sufficient. I just really thrive on it. I really love being self-sufficient, being able to do for myself. And if you've heard of the news, it's kind of been gaining some traction. So one of the big ones that we have is the distilling community. The federal government has lost quite a few court battles that could see in the next year to 3 years, it will be legal for you to distill your own spirits, your own drinking alcohol. Kind of big news. That's exciting stuff that, we might see a legalization of this. That's awesome. We had some firearm self-sufficiency stuff come up where, again, the government's been challenged, asking, why can't we do this for ourselves? And the federal government's lost. Time and time again, we keep seeing where governments are against self-sufficiency. Here in Michigan, there are a lot of laws, there are a lot of politicians, even the current governor really does not like you to be self-sufficient. There's a lot of messaging going on about, how you should be on city water instead of well water. Oh, okay, there's a little bit of strawberry now. All right, taste it. City water instead of well water. Now, they'll say it's for, they have the best of intentions, that, it's because when you're on well water, you are the water operator, and a lot of people won't test their wells. They won't keep up with maintenance, where the city, hypothetically, has to by law. Yeah, okay. I can see why the current administration has that view, but it is a very interesting view, having governments against self-sufficiency, doing it for yourself. Now, the ad hoc, if you talk to these people who try to be self-sufficient, and you ask them their opinions on why do you think it is that government, state, federal, even some local governments are against people being self-sufficient, these farmers and people who are self-sufficient will quickly tell you, well, it's because the government wants complete control. Okay, sure. I'm not doubting that at all. That there's maybe some people who want some micron of control over people. If you can do it yourself, you don't have to ask for help. Yeah, okay. But that argument kind of breaks down for me as to why governments want, they're against self-sufficiency. Because there are better ways to control people than to take away someone's self-sufficiency. Even leaving someone self-sufficient can technically make them, make you be more of a subject to the government. Allow them, like one of the biggest ones they're saying is like, okay, if we're here, one of the reasons they said, it's truth, one of the reasons, home distilling is illegal is because we want tax revenue. Well, okay, make home distilling legal, but you got to report how much you make and pay a tax on it. Okay, hey, there's a control the government can have with me still being self-sufficient, me still doing it myself. You don't want people growing their own tobacco. This is actually true. If I grow too many plants or produce too much, I'm technically supposed to pay a tax on it. Hey, I'm still self-sufficient, but the government still has some control. So, okay, why then is the government against self-sufficiency? Well, most of my fellow patriots will probably not like hearing this, but the government is made up of people, right? And being self-sufficient is 110% against what the public wants. Our society, our public, our way of living, our culture is against self-sufficiency. And it's ingrained in our culture to the point where I mean, I get a lot of pushback from people. I talk about the stuff I do for myself, my self-sufficiency, gathering my own food, making my own, beer and wine, even harvesting my own tobacco. A lot of people are almost get angry at me for that. And sure, we could argue that the government has trained those people to be leery, upset, or angry at people who go against the grain. But more, I think we're in a society of people who forgot how to do for themselves. And I think that makes them angry when there are people who do, when there are people who, do it for themselves. We have our own. It's almost like we're judging people for not being self-sufficient, which most self-sufficient people do not. Like, I don't think the meat that I harvest is any better than the meat you bought. It's different. There's different sources, different effort was put into it, but it's still calories. It's still meat. The beer I make, I don't pretend that it's far superior to any beer you can buy in the store. Hell, there are beers that are delicious that I could never make. So no, I don't necessarily judge people who think everyone should be self-sufficient. I know it's out of most people's reach. Most people can't be self-sufficient based on where they live and what they set their priorities to. No hate, of course. That is actually evolving now that it's been open. I do appreciate that. Letting it breathe was a good idea. And I do think, you see in TV shows, and I run into, again, I tell people I'm self-sufficient, and it really is. I get treated differently, and they almost get angry with me. People on, TV shows, dramatizations, like Grey's Anatomy. Ugh, that thing's gross. I do not like that TV show. It puts medical professionals in a very bad light. They make them out to be atheistic, racist, murderers. For a different video, though. But there you have someone who, I want to take care of this myself. I want to get better by myself. They're made out to be the devil. They're made out to be evil. Like, how dare you try to do for yourself when I think what it is people are angry about that because that is the way we're supposed to be living, right? That's the way we lived for thousands of years. There wasn't the magical supermarket. There wasn't this, public education. There wasn't this access to services that we have now. And I think deep down in a person's psyche, they know not being self-sufficient is wrong. I think they honestly do understand and know that, this person who is making their own bread, they're more in tune to what we were supposed to be doing and what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be self-sufficient on many levels. So I believe these people who don't do it feel guilty. They feel like they should be, making their own breads, fixing their own cars, plumbing their own homes, chopping their own wood. And it's not a conscious thought, but it's this subconscious, this deep, deep idea, this deep longing, this need. They always joke about, when Minecraft came out, that children started playing it, and people joke, they're like, well, children yearn for the mines. That's why Minecraft was so popular, because ever since we got kids out of the mine, they now yearn for it. They want back in the mines. Cute, funny, ha ha ha. But I think there's some truth to it. I think when people hear about other people doing self-sufficient things, making their own clothes, there's a deep, deep yearning to get back to that. Even though they'll tell you, I could never do that. I don't enjoy doing that. It's no fun. But it's something that's lost in our psyche. And I think that's why we have so many psychological issues with people, is that they've lost that connection of doing it yourself, that connection with the self-sufficiency. Now, granted, no person can do 100% of what they need for themselves, but they could do more. Everyone could do more. And man, I've never seen someone unhappy who's engaged in a self-sufficient project. They're always smiling, they're always generous people, they're always polite people. But man, I've met a lot of assholes going through the store, trying to get services or someone to come do something for them instead of doing it themselves. So yeah, I don't think the government necessarily hates people who are self-sufficient. I think the government is made up of people. And our current culture is to distrust self-sufficient people, is to be angry that they're doing what you can't. Food for thought, something I was thinking about as I'm watching my tobacco leaves probably mold here in the next week or two. Enjoying a properly cured tobacco leaf and a beer that is actually surprising me right now. So anyway, folks, I hope you find something to be self-sufficient with. Get out there, bake some bread, brew some beer. Instead of buying it from the store, try making it yourself. Anyway, folks, stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next one.